Hey, what's up, guys? Node Investor here, bringing you another quick update on the markets. Are we in a longer term downtrend? Is this the beginning of a bear market for cryptocurrencies? That's the question I'm getting a lot these days. People are hitting me up on Twitter, asking me on the comments here on these videos, and it's a very valid question. And so I'm going to give you a couple of things to look at and to consider. And we'll try to answer that here quickly and look at some of the charts for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a couple of others. Let's take a quick look at the markets. Bitcoin right now, $2,418, down about 2%. Ethereum back below 300, $261 right now. Dash taking a little bit of a hit, $161. Litecoin, $38. Monero, $40. Ripple, 23.75 cents. Ethereum Classic moving down in tandem with Ethereum, 16.37. Pivx had a little bit of a breakout here recently. I mentioned it's been a little resilient. Above $2 now, but pulling in. So 218 right now. Zcash, 276. NEM, 14 cents. Wow, NEM continues to slide. And Lumens, 2.3 cents, so also dropping here. So a couple of things to look at. Let's go to the coin market cap here. $95 billion market cap. So we've certainly come off quite a bit from the highs. And we got to remember, we started the year 30 billion or so, right? I mean, so we've come a long ways. No, we were less than that. We were 17 billion. Let's look at that. So we come in and just look at what has happened over 2017. So we started, 17, almost $18 billion market cap, and we zoomed all the way up to just over 100 billion. And that's really where we've been kind of bouncing around and having trouble getting much over that level. And, you know, when I look at this, I'm thinking, okay, it's normal for the market to pull back here or consolidate a little bit because we've had a huge run up. And this is completely normal action on a market. You know, there's a lot of profit taken and some of that. But the question remains, is that the top, right? Is this $115 billion mark going to be a top that holds for months or years, right? Is that going to be it? And we're going to kind of downtrend, slowly grind our way down. And that's the concern right now, right? We saw that several years back. Bitcoin topped and it was this slow grind all the way down. And so let's look at a couple of different things, right? On the negative side, if you will, I've seen a lot of articles in the mainstream news and mainstream investment media outlets lately talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum and how great they are and how to get started investing in them. And on one side, that's great because more people are learning about it and all that, and it's going to just bring more people into the space. But in the near term, that's a little negative because you don't see those articles at the bottoms, right? You tend to only see those articles at the top when there's just so much hype around something. And that's just natural because those news outlets, they got to talk about what's hot and what's being talked about a lot. And so they got to cover the latest thing. And Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are where it's at right now. And they've just been so hot lately. So they're finally jumping on. And that typically signifies a little overexuberance and could signify a short-term top. Now, how low we go and how long the correction lasts is yet to be seen, right? We've got a couple of things within the crypto space that have caused some volatility here. We've seen Ethereum here recently break down. We've seen Bitcoin top. We're coming into a key date here in another month or so. And so that could be putting a pause on things too. But, you know, just I'm looking at a couple of those things and I'm thinking, yeah, those are kind of warning flags. Longer term, however, you know, it just depends on what your beliefs are, but longer term, I am of the belief that we've got a long ways to go in this market. You know, you're looking at Bitcoin, $2,400, looking at Ethereum, $275 right now. Long term, meaning 2 years, 5 years, where do you think the prices will be? I strongly believe Bitcoin will be well over $2,400 in 5 years. And Ethereum and some of these leaders are going to be much higher. Now, between now and then, yeah, there might be some ups and downs, deeper corrections. So a lot just really depends on what your time frame is. You know, if you're a long-term holder and you've been buying at the lows and just buying a little bit along the way, then fine, right? Just keep holding on. Nothing wrong with taking profits if you've had a big run. But if if you bought recently, or maybe you're down a little bit, then this might be something to consider, right? And so I'm going to look at some charts and show you if we're going to break out or break down, and it just depends on your time frame. If you're a long-termer, you believe, hey, I'm here for 5 or 10 years and this doesn't really matter, then just keep buying. This might actually be a great buy opportunity. If you've got in recently and you're hoping to double your money and you're down a little bit, I'm going to show you some levels that you don't want to see broken, because if they do, it could further your losses. So just some things to consider. How you play it at the end of the day is up to you. Right now is a good trading market. A little choppy. There's some deep pullbacks, big bounces. So if you're doing a little bit of trading, certainly there's opportunities there. Beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of these leaders, there's going to be new ones, guys. I've been telling you about. There's always going to be up and coming leaders and things popping out, and I've been trying to point those out to you. So let's get to it here. Let's take a look at Bitcoin first. So Bitcoin, let me go over to the candles. And so this is a longer term view. Let me zoom out a little bit. Here's where we're at now. This is the daily chart on Coinbase. And so you can see here, we're just now breaking these shorter term moving averages. So that's not good. Putting in this lower highs, that's not good. The good thing is we have so far made higher lows and have been holding them. Now we're getting at a little bit of a juncture here where, what's going to be the next big move? It's kind of tightening up. It's putting this little wedge. And typically following these, there's a move to the up or the downside and kind of resets some of the technicals. So look out for that, right? The RSI is dipping below here, close to 40. Typically that's where they bottom if it's going to be in a bull trend. If it breaks below 40, that's going to change things. But right now it's holding. So those are some of the positives. I'm not showing it here, but the longer term 50-day moving average is basically sitting right at this support level right now as well. So a couple of things to consider. Those are some of the positives. Some of the negatives, obviously, is this downtrend. So the longer term, this broader uptrend, this may just be a short-term pause in that and then continue higher. Near term, however, we're definitely in a downtrend. I mean, there's just no doubt about that, right? We've peaked up here at near 3,000, and it's just been a series of breakdowns and undercutting support, big volume drops. So there's no doubt that we're in a shorter term downtrend. Is this the beginning of a long-term bear? It very possibly could be, but that is definitely not confirmed yet based on what we're seeing in the action. So keep that in mind. If you're looking to buy on Bitcoin, I would probably wait a little bit to see how this triangle resolves itself, because it could just break either way right now, especially with the market action. The odds are favoring that it breaks to the downside. Could be wrong, and we could just pop above this and start marching right up again. So just watch this over the next couple of days, especially if volume starts to come in. We'll see what happens there. Let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, this is the chart I showed you guys a couple of days ago. We had this huge double bottom that came in, massive volume showed up, good support action here. We still have not broken this longer term downtrend that we're starting to build. And from the peak around 400, it's just kind of been marching down, bouncing into resistance. And the last couple of days, we've seen another big drop. So we're back down into the 250, 260 range here. Now, near term, we're also hitting the 50-day moving average, and so we might start seeing, a little bit of a wedge forming here. Now, for the short term, this could offer a little bit of a bounce, good trade opportunity, right? You can make a little 20% or so here, maybe a little bit higher if it pops up to the old highs around 320. But of course, you want to keep a tight leash on any trades right now. A big drop below this, especially if we get near these lows here, I mean, it could just crack and we can head down to the next level of support in the 100s. Wouldn't that be something? So look out for that. I think Ethereum looks like it may hold this 50-day moving average and bounce off from here. This would be a great place to see that happen. Let's zoom in a little bit and see the 4-hour. So actually, let me jump over to this one here. We'll come back to Answers in a minute. So here's another view of it here, right? So you can see here the 50-day moving average is what I've got on here. We have had a decent pullback. Looking at the Fibonacci retracement levels from the breakout at 95 or whatever it was there, we're sitting right at 50% retracement right now, and the lows, that double bottom low, was right at the 61.8 level, which is a key level, and it held. So that's a positive sign, right? So on the plus, that's very good. On the negative, we're still in this downtrend. So if you zoom out and look at the longer term trend, this could just be a big correction in a longer term uptrend. We'll see if that is the case. Like I said, right now, if you're gutsy and looking to buy Ethereum, this is probably a good place to take a little flyer at that. But again, much below this little consolidation, this moving average or this red line that I've drawn here, I would just be cutting my losses and be on the safe side. That's me personally, but it could bounce. Again, how high it bounces will say a lot of if we're going to start turning around, or if it's just a weak bounce and we hit this moving average or we hit this descending trend line and bounce down again. That's certainly going to add to the bearish side of things and make a stronger case for, yeah, we're in a longer term downtrend. Now, Ethereum has had probably one of the biggest moves up this year, going from, whatever, $12, $20 earlier this year, we were in teens, right? $12 and going all the way up to 400. So, you can't expect Ethereum to double from here necessarily again in a few months. I mean, it's had a big run. A long consolidation would not be unusual after a big move like that. So that's kind of what my mindset is right now. That's where I'm thinking, watching these closely. These are good, maybe little short-term trades. Longer term, big investments, I wouldn't be as confident as I was when I saw the breakout, here at 50 and then again at 95. Those were spectacular entry points, and I had a lot of confidence in those moves, and it was easy to put larger sums at that point. Up here at this level, after a big downtrend, the risk is certainly higher. So just keep that in mind. Let's look at Litecoin, and then we'll look at a couple more. So Litecoin has definitely been the stronger of the bunch. So here's the daily chart. You can see the blue line is where the big breakout happened. It's put in a little bit of a pullback here. The thing I like about Litecoin is so far the volume has been very constructive. You can see it's been declining on the downside as the pullback happens, and that is very positive. You don't want to see a big time close below this blue line, or that's going to just really negate the breakout. The 50-day moving average is right there too, so we could have a big reversal at that point. I'm still bullish on Litecoin. I'm still holding it, so just keeping an eye on this here because the descending trend is getting really close. So we could have another move up or down here. So like all of these, just be conservative. Keep a tight leash on some of these if you're trading it. If you're in it for the longer term. It really just depends on where you bought it and what your philosophies are, right? If you don't need the money right away and you're thinking I'm into this for a little bit more longer term, a couple of years out, then this, again, probably doesn't matter. Might just be a good buy opportunity for you. Let's look at Ant shares. So I've been talking about Ant shares here recently, put a little blog post on it. We had a nice bounce, and as expected, it's pulled back right around where I expected it to pull back, and now it's pulling back a little bit. So I'm watching a few levels to see how deep this pullback goes. Ant shares has been pretty strong, so I don't expect the pullback to go much too further. This blue line here corresponds with the 32% or 38.2% Fibonacci retracement ratio. And so far, it looks like it maybe is done pulling back here. So this would be a good spot to look at it, especially if it starts to bounce up and clear this shorter term moving average. And so I like Ant shares. I did pick some up here at the lows back in here. And I'm seeing if it's going to hold in this level and pop up. If not, if we see a big break, then all bets are off. But right now, Ant shares is looking like one of the stronger in the bunch as well. It's a newer one, much smaller market cap than some of the other ones, but it's certainly marching up the market cap list these days. I think it's at number 13 or 12 or something along there, 14. So, you know, just shy of 400 billion or 400 million market cap. What else here? Let's look at Pivx real quick. You know, that one, it's lower volume, much more volatile than some of these, so you just got to be careful with these, but had a nice breakout. I mean, you can't blame Pivx for moving like this. I mean, it was setting up. I covered it in a video not too long ago, and I was saying, guys, Pivx is tightening up and has been resilient in this pullback here recently, and for whatever reason, didn't see any news or anything on this, and just huge volume came in. Broke out, went up pretty decently, up to about, I think this equates to around $2.40 or so, and you know, from 180 was a pretty decent move up. Now pulling back, we'll see how far this pullback goes, but you know, this could be the start of a little uptrend in Pivx now that it's broken that $2 barrier that it's struggled to get above for a long time. So I'm watching Pivx again, higher risk for sure. Way more volatile than some of these other ones, so not something I'd be committing a huge amount to personally. That's going to be it, guys. Just wanted to give you another update as these markets progress. I think we're getting to a little bit of a juncture here in the next coming days. We're going to see the market show its hand a little bit more and give us another few clues as to what direction it wants to keep going. I'll keep you guys posted. Follow me on Twitter for some short updates here and there. Until next time, take care.